Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Better Globally. Today, another episode. We have a very special guest, Clay Clark. Thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for allowing me to be here with you. With your accent, are you from Oklahoma or Texas?
Oh, that's pretty far from where I'm actually from. What do you think? What's your guess? It's not from States, let me tell you that.
Puerto Rico.
No, not even close.
Mexico.
I'll give you a clue. I'm from Europe.
Well, I'm going to have to go with Colombia.
Oh, that's not in Europe.
I have no idea where you're from. Where are you from?
I'm Polish. I'm born and raised in Poland. Now I'm based here in Miami. I don't know, maybe there's a little bit of the Spanish accent because of Miami. You know how
Polish.
it is.
They do. You guys do the borders in Poland, right? You guys do the border thing. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of praise online to Polish people and that the borders are pretty safe, unlike here in States.
Right.
However, there have been some controversies that basically like the government was selling the visas. So basically there was still illegal immigration.
Well, hopefully less obvious illegal immigration.
At least they don't make it as obvious as here.
There you go.
Okay, Clay. So first of all, again, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
If for people who may not be very familiar with who you are, could you give a brief introduction about yourself?
A couple things. If you go to thrivetimeshow.com, that website serves as sort of like a ongoing resume, I should say, or an updated resume. So if you go there, you're going to see thousands and thousands of clients that I've helped to grow successful companies. You can see their stories at thrivetimeshow.com. And how I make money, just so we're very clear, is I charge people a flat monthly fee to help them grow their business. That fee averages $1,700 a month, 1,700 per month. Then I get a small percentage of the growth. That's how I do it. And so most of my wealth is generated by helping someone grow their business. And that's what I do. Talking in circles to people about things they could do is not something I'm interested in, but helping people grow their company, that's what I do. And I do business workshops. I've done those every 2 months since 2005. And you can learn more about those at thrivetimeshow.com. Every 2 months, I do them in person in Tulsa, Jerusalem. That's in my office. It's a blasty blast. We have a lot of fun. But before that, and the reason why people care about my workshops is I started one of America's largest wedding entertainment companies out of my parents' basement, then my dorm room in college. The company was called DJconnection.com before I sold it. And to give you some context, we would do about 4,000 weddings a year before I sold that. I also had built one of the region's largest party rental companies. The company I sold, which is now called Party Pro, I sold it, but it was now it's called Party Pro. Also the Tulsa Wedding Show, a big bridal exhibit. And then I took the money when I sold the business and I decided to invest in 5 areas. Home flipping, which I'm not a prolific home flipper, but I made a lot of money doing that. I invested in a dentistry where I helped them basically fix the practice for a percentage of the growth. I put money into just different businesses, and they all worked. And so they all grew, and then people started telling me, hey, could you help me grow my business? And I thought, sure. And so that was what Make Your Life Epic was, or what it is. It's my consulting company. And it's not called Make Your Life Great. It's called Make Your Life Epic because the word epic would imply that there is a hero, which would be you, who's trying to overcome adversity, aka poverty. And en route to that, there will be struggle, and that is your story. And so that's what's called Make Your Life Epic. And we've had just countless success stories, all documented at thrivetimeshow.com.
Okay, yeah, that's a very detailed introduction. I love it. So I'm coming more from the marketing field.
Yeah,
that's what I do. Let's say for a job. So I'm wondering what you just said really spoke to me. So when you say you help people grow their companies, do you focus mostly on, let's say, client acquisition side, or do you also help them operation wise? How does that work?
Great. Let me pull this up real quick here. And if your listeners go to thrivetimeshow.com / just go to thrivetimeshow.com /millionaire, and you can download all my books for free. But I'm going to be referencing specifically, I'm not playing solitaire over here. I'm just looking at a screen, page 5 of my newest book, which you can download for free, called How to Become Sustainably Rich, A Millionaire's Guide. Okay, so I look at business as 14 separate boxes, and the word emotion is not any of those boxes. So I look at business as 14 boxes, and the word emotion is not present in any of those boxes. Okay. I like to have a good time, but I don't deal with like negative emotions. I don't do conversations about pessimism and optimism and hope and joy and fear. I don't do that. That's a Tony Robbins thing. I don't care about that, but I focus on what works. Okay. So box number 1 in my proven system is we get in there and we figure out what are your revenue goals?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to pick on a client I just worked with this morning. He sells signage for billboards, auto wraps, any kind of signage for a business. That's what he does. Big signs, outdoor signs. And I sat down with this client. I said, Mr. Client, what are your yearly revenue goals? Your yearly revenue goals. And at the time, he said, I don't have them. Well, you got to figure that out. Let's figure that out. So we said his goals were to get to $2 million a year of gross revenue because he operates at a 25% margin. So that would be a $500,000 a year income. I said, great. I said, so what are your weekly gross revenue goals? He says, what? I said, your weekly goals. He said, I never thought about it. So we figured out he needs to get to $40,000 a week of sales to hit those goals. Box number 2, break even numbers. I said, how much crap do you have to sell to break even? He says, crap. Crap in my world stands for core, repeatable, actionable processes. But how much stuff do you have to sell to hit your goals? And he says, to break even. I don't know. I was like, well, we need to know. So he found out that it took him 16 days per month to break even at his current pace, 16 days a month to break even. And if he had a low month, he oftentimes wouldn't break even. This is a sign company. This is one of my current clients. And then box 3, I said, how many hours a week are you willing to work? Now we start getting into the emotions, but I don't do emotions. So he says, what do you mean? I said, well, I go to bed every night at 9, and I wake up at 3, and I try to be at the office, like in my building between 4 and 5 every day. That's what I do. And then I work until 6. So I like to work. I do choose to work. I do work 6 days a week between the hours of 4 a.m. and 6 p.m. So I get up at 3, get to the office. That's what I do 6 days a week. And this client's going, what? What about life balance? I don't believe in life balance. I believe in life choices. So trade-offs. So the Bible, which I believe in, tells us in Genesis and Exodus, we're supposed to work 6 days a week and rest 7. And let's just say you don't like the Bible. You don't like the idea. Fine. But to find me a pro athlete or a multimillionaire that works 35 hours a week. So you got to figure out how many hours a week you're willing to work. And this client was blowing my mind, and I love the guy, but he was like, well, my wife doesn't like it if I work on Fridays. I'm going, what about Saturdays? Well, she doesn't like that. What about Thursdays? Well, she wants me to pick up the kids from school. What about Wednesdays? Well, I'm going, dude, you can't even achieve success with the current level of jackassery. So you need to tell her to stay home and raise the kids, and you need to work, or vice versa. But you can't do this half-assery, jackassery, or your whole life's going to suck. So that was a big thing for him, was just getting into he had roles and goals, and his wife decided to stay home and raise the kids. He decided to work. It could have worked the other way, but whatever. Box 4, this is a sign company. What is your unique value proposition? And he's going, I don't know. I said, well, you're not the only guy that sells signs. So what do you do that makes you different? And he's going, I don't know. I said, well, what does your top competition do? He said, I don't know. I said, so let's call the top 3 competitors, and let's figure out what they do. So we mystery shopped, and we found out, okay, here are the things that we could do to beat your competition. Then box number 5, I said your branding on a scale of 1 to 10, branding. 10 being the highest, 1 being the worst. How highly would you rate your website, your print pieces, business cards, your online ads? And he's like, oh, probably a hardcore 2. I'm like, okay, great. Box 6, marketing. What are the 3 ways that you acquire customers? He's like, well, primarily word of mouth. I said, I know you do that, but how do you go get customers beyond word of mouth? And there wasn't a system. So he helped him optimize his website. That's leg number 1. Do social media ads. That's leg number 3. And then what process we call the Dream 100. That's leg number 3. Anyway, from that point forward, we've grown the guy's company from where he was at 4 times larger. Now, the problem is when the phone rings, you have to have call scripts, box 7. Do you have call scripts, recorded calls, a pre-written sales presentation, a lead tracking system? Do you have sales materials? No, he didn't have that. That's box 7. Box 8. Do you know what it costs to acquire a customer? He had no idea. Do you have a tracking sheet? No. Do you track where leads come from? No. Box number 9. Do you have systems so that other people who are not you can auto wrap a vehicle? They can install a sign. They can cut the signage. They can put out the signs. They can design the signs. No, he didn't have a system or a checklist or a process for anything. So he was the only one who could do all the work. So he built all those systems. Box 10, can you manage people? That's currently where we're at right now, is he's struggling to manage people. And because he doesn't understand that a business is a benevolent dictatorship and not a socialist think tank. So that's where we're currently stuck, is because he keeps trying to run his business like a socialist think tank. So as we head into Thanksgiving, I'm not kidding, he's asking his employees, what days do you guys want to work? You can't do it that way. You can't. Because he's going, man, I can't get my guys to do the work. So he's going to be the one working on Thanksgiving while everybody else is off all week because he's running his company like a socialist think tank. That's box number 10, management. Box number 11 is building a repetitive weekly schedule that's sustainable. Box 12 is human resources, how to hire, fire, train, retain quality people. Box 13 is your accounting. No one wants to talk about it, but you have to. And then box 14 is what is the point of achieving all this financial success? What do you want to do with your life? And so that's the whole system. And so it's a holistic system, not just one area. And most people, if the people are good at marketing, they struggle with managing. If they're good at managing, they struggle with marketing. And so we attack all 14 systems simultaneously.
Okay, wow. I mean, there was a lot of value already. People should be taking notes. So you said it's on your website for the book.
It's thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire. And I give all my books away for free because it's not about education, it's about implementation. So let me give an example. I know a lot. I know a lot about a lot of things in my life that I don't put any energy into. Let me give you an example. I know a lot about comedy, but I am not a comedian. Occasionally I might have an outburst where someone says, that was kind of funny, but that's not but I know a lot about it, but I'm not a comedian. I know a lot about pop music, how it's written, how it's composed, but I'm not a musician. I know a lot about home flipping, but I choose not to flip homes. I know it. But you got to focus on what are you going to implement? And so what happens is, if you're out there today and you're looking to hire a personal trainer to get in shape, I happen to work with a lot of fitness businesses. And the 3 steps to getting in shape, there's 3. You have to have a nutrition plan, a fitness plan, and you have to have accountability, which is usually a relationship that you have with a man or a woman. Let me try again. To get in great shape, you have to have a nutrition plan, a fitness plan, and an accountability with either a man or a woman. That's how it works, okay? And so if you don't have that, it's very, very rarely do you find someone who's in great physical shape that doesn't have a nutrition plan, a fitness plan, and an accountability to a man or a woman. That's usually a trainer. Same thing with business. You have to have a plan for your offense, which is marketing and sales. And you have to have a plan for defense, which is like legal and accounting and that kind of thing. But you have to have an accountability to actually get it done, because most people by default won't get it done without coaching, mentorship, accountability. And that's what I provide. That's why I only work with 160 clients, because I got a guy today I'm talking to at it's 3:15 Central now. So I'm talking to this guy at 5:30 today. God bless him. And he's a great guy. He's wanted to be a client for years, he says. He says he listens to our podcast. And he's like, I really want to do the coaching. I've met a lot of your clients. I went to Thrive Time Show and I've seen the success stories. However, he says, I don't know if my wife is on board. And I said, well, then jump off board, because I don't want to sit there and debate with your wife. So, or you'll see women who are like, I believe in your system, but I can't get my husband on board. Then I'm going, then jump off board. So I'm not trying to convince people that my coaching system is right for them. I'm telling people my workshops, if you go to thrivetimeshow.com, you can literally name your price. And it's because mediocrity irritates me. Poverty bothers me. I grew up poor. So you can just go and you can pay whatever price you want. December 7th and 8th, you can do that. I do free 13-point assessments, but I only take on 160 clients, Ben, for my sanity, because I don't want to work with people that are just on the phone talking to me to fill a checkbox on their schedule. I want to help real people that really want to grow their business.
Makes sense. So I come more from the online space, making money online, making money from a laptop, stuff like that. You come probably from a different space, more for traditional, old school businesses. So, in online space, the 10,000 a month is, let's say, like the holy grail. So I was wondering, with all the knowledge that you have now, if you had to go from zero to this holy grail of $10,000 a month, how would you do it?
Well, I'm not arguing with you, but I am going to point out something that you and I may not agree with. About half of my clients are online exclusive businesses, and about half of them are brick and mortar. So just for sake of time, I have to give an example of something. So I just focused on the signage company. But if somebody were to go to rusticcuff.com, that's primarily an online retailer I've worked with. If you look at grillblazer.com or grillgun.com, the website's grillblazer.com. I took this guy from 0 sales to $30,000 a week in sales, selling like a flamethrower that you can use to heat it's like for grilling is what the idea. And I could go off. I've worked with a company called Zany Bands back in the day, Slap Watch, I mean, I could just sit there and list off websites all day, but the point is, online is, I'm not either online or offline. I just grow companies. So if you're out there today and you're saying, I want to grow a business and I want to make 10 grand, you said 10 grand a month of profit, or what are we talking about?
Yeah, I would say, let's say of profit, like personal, go straight to your pocket.
Well, the easiest way to do it that I can think of now, and I'll fire off three, but just three. And they're all like, they're going to feel like they're very, they're going to feel like they're designed to pitch me, but you asked me a question, so I'm answering, but you and I haven't colluded offline about this. But one is, if you do a search right now for makeyourdogepic.com, this is perhaps the dumbest and most easy way to get wealthy quickly. If you go to makeyourdogepic.com, makeyourdogepic.com, and I say dumbest, like the easiest to learn, okay, is if you go to makeyourdogepic.com and you want to license one of our locations, I'm not exaggerating. You can go there and request information. I will charge you $1 to become a licensed dog trainer. And then you get trained by a professional dog trainer. And if you have somebody locally that'll teach you, great. If you want to have a trainer that I recommend, you can have them do that. And I'm not kidding. You pay $5,000 and someone will teach you how to train dogs. And then from that point forward, the whole system is turnkey, and I get 6% of your revenue to help you do it. And so we have a guy who's been a friend of mine for a long time, and I'll just speak in general terms here because I don't want to give up his. Don't want to share his financial information. But he went from no revenue to almost $20,000 a week training dogs in less than a year. So I mean, it's like a really. I'll tell you why, because everyone says, "Oh, baby, look at that cute dog. We got to get that puppy. Look at that puppy. It's a great puppy." And the husband's like, "I don't know, baby. I don't know if I want a puppy. It's a beautiful puppy, baby." And then, or the guy's going, "Baby, we got to get this puppy. This puppy's incredible. Let's look at this puppy." And then, or she said, "Look at the puppy. It's so awesome. We should get a puppy. We're getting married. Let's get a puppy. I don't want a kid yet, but let's get a puppy." There's always some sort of emotional argument. Okay. So next thing you know, you got White Fang, you got Cujo eating everything. Rawr, 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 White Fang. Rawr, rawr, rawr. Pretty soon you're becoming antisocial. The dog's peeing in your closet, pulling on the leash, biting at the neighbors, chasing your kids around, and your quality of life goes down because of this hound. And so you start to think, this is profound. My life has gotten terrible as a result of buying a dog or adopting a dog. And so you go to Make Your Dog Epic and you're going, I want my life to stop being terrible. So you schedule your first lesson for 50 cents. And people go, 50 cents? Yeah, we do a demo. The first lesson is 50 cents. And then people come out and they go, "Oh my gosh, this first lesson was incredible. How much do you charge?" And then we have regular price, the elite price, the ultra incredible price. And if you want to teach your dog to speak Spanish or something, the first package is teach your dog basic obedience. The second package is if you want to turn White Fang into like a circus animal or something. And then the package 3 is we have scholarship options to make it affordable for everybody. And so the average person pays between $1,500 and $2,000, Ben, to have someone train their dog. And do you know what the profit margin is, Ben, on training a dog?
Pretty high, probably.
Yeah, because there's no cost into it. And so someone says, "Well, how long does it take to become a dog trainer?" About 6 weeks of training, $5,000. So for $5,000, you learn all this stuff, and then you just train dogs. And I want you to be successful because I get 6%. So that's the least expensive thing I know of. The second least expensive thing I'm also involved in is called Flow Photos. It does online real estate, photography, videography, drone, 3D tours, the whole thing. And that business is $10,000 total. And I also get 6% on that. That's called flowphotos.com. And that thing is $10,000, and it takes you just 1 week of training, flowphotos.com. Third, OxyFresh, that's 50 grand or more. That's a franchise for carpet cleaning called OxyFresh, oxifresh.com. And the purpose of a business is to create time freedom and financial freedom. That's why you start a business, is time freedom and financial freedom. So in all three of those businesses I shared with you, you could learn how to do the business in less than 2 months and for less than $50,000. The first one being Make Your Dog Epic. It's $5 grand. Flow Photos, $10,000, and OxyFresh, about $50,000. Those are three options I could think of. And if I could do it all over again, I would have done one of those things, but I didn't. I didn't know how to do those things. I didn't know those things existed. So I started an entertainment company. So I worked at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV for 2 consecutive years, 3 jobs, to save up enough money to buy my DJ equipment, my van, all the equipment, and to start this entertainment company. And I had to build all the systems from scratch. But if I could do it all over again, I would have chosen one of those 3 options because it's just so easy to do it. It doesn't make any sense not to. It would be like, Clay, why do you use a computer as opposed to, writing everything down on paper? It's more efficient. Clay, why do you use Photoshop instead of hand painting everything? Well, 1, I'm not Bob Ross, and 2, it makes more sense. Well, why do you use digital editing instead of analog? It just makes sense. So that would be my answer, the fastest way to get to $10,000 a month of profit.
It's very interesting because, again, like I said, I come more from the online space, and all the ways that you mentioned are, let's say, not as sexy, because people usually at the young age, they think of starting like an e-commerce store. So just selling stuff online or learning a skill. The things that you mentioned are not necessarily online, but I could see like how they can make a lot of money. Just like you said, you're getting coached to be a dog trainer, costs you $5,000, and then you coach someone's dog for $2,000, and profit margin is basically very high.
Well, what I focus on is very practical things, and I'm not giving you a backhanded compliment. There are many people in your space that are not legit like yourself, and they're just scamming and spamming. And so this is the pitch. This is how they do it, by the way. They get a screen behind them. They get like a waterfall, and they're on the beach, and you pay like $4,000 to rent an Airbnb, or maybe $1,000. And so you look like you're in a mansion balling out of control. And then you pay models to be in the background, male, female models, to walk around and just kind of like not look at the camera, but just seem busy. And then you get on your show, or not your show, but other people do this. And they go, so on my show today, my name's Clay Clark, and I'm going to teach you how to make $1 million using your laptop. And so we're going to teach you with my magic money system. You'll pay as little as $1,000 a month to learn the systems of secret supply. And so people are like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And then I go, and I'm going to do a little chatty chat today with my best friend who happens to be a celebrity. And so I get a celebrity with me, and now the celebrity and then the attractive men and women behind me and the waterfall and the view of the ocean, pretty soon people think I'm legit. And that becomes the jackassery system that a lot of people fall victim of. They get rich quick is not a move. And so that's kind of the world that I avoid. I try to give you very specific examples, ample examples that the human mind can handle. I really don't do well with the wandering generality that many people seek, because at the end of the day, a lot of people don't want to work. And in the Bible, the Hebrew word for work means worship, and worship means work. So my goal is to work, just to be very clear. My goal is to work. My goal is to not work. The worst thing possible for me is to not work. I like to work. I would rather work than not work. So if you said dinner on the beach or work, I go work. Why? Because I like to work. Why? I don't like dinner on the beach. You said cruise, or I've been on the cruises, I've traveled, and what I found is that the word work means worship, and worship means work. And I find people that have infinite time freedom are very depressed, usually. So I like to focus on work. So if I wasn't on this show with you, I'd be working, doing something else. That's what I like to do.
Okay, awesome. I mean, like I said, I love it. I'm glad to be here and like learn from you, because let's say I haven't really thought about those ideas to like make money, and I'm sure like people could definitely do it, and it's maybe not as sexy as making money online, having a store or whatever, but it's definitely something that people can make a lot of money. So I was watching an interview of Tucker Carlson with Javier Milei, the newly elected president of Argentina.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure that you're a fan of him. You must be a fan of him and his views.
Well, okay. I'm going to tell you this. This is, again, I appreciate you asking me these questions, and I'm sorry if I come across as a difficult person. I just want to be very direct with you. I respect you, your audience, and your brain enough to be 100% sincere with you at all times. So Robert Kiyosaki is a guy I've interviewed, and he said the following quote recently, and he says it often: "Acta non verba," which is watch what a person says. No. That's what it does. No, listen. Acta non verba. He says, watch what a person does, not what they say. So the newly elected head of Argentina is a member of the World Economic Forum, which to me couldn't be worse. However, he says the things that I want him to say. So
Okay.
I've thought about eventually plugging my ears permanently so I can't hear what people say and I can just watch what they do, because I find that what people say is usually opposite of what they do. So what he's saying, Javier Milei, is definitely what I would like him to say. He appears to be a libertarian, capitalist, whatever, but he's a member of the World Economic Forum, which there has never been a more nefarious organization than the world. It's tough to say that because there's the World Economic Forum, that's pretty nefarious, and the World Health Organization is pretty nefarious. But really, the most ultimate nefarious organization is called the World Economic Forum, headed up by this guy, Klaus Schwab, who and this guy Yuval Noah Harari. They want to turn humans into hackable animals. They want to put surveillance under your skin, and they want to introduce central bank digital currencies. So I pray that Javier Milei withdraws from the World Economic Forum and stops hanging around those nefarious people. That's my thoughts.
Okay, cool. I mean, I agree. I wish we had more time to discuss this more in details. But I was bringing up his character because in the interview he said something that I feel like you apply this into your life, into the way you do business. So he said, social role of an entrepreneur is to make money, but that's not enough. Part of their investment must include investing in those who defend the ideals of freedom, so the socialists can make no further advances.
True.
And I was listening to your podcast with Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
And you said that people can name their price to get the tickets to your conference, ReAwaken America.
Yep.
So I was wondering, what's your thought process behind that? Why did you do it instead of just pricing it normally?
Great question. This comes down to my overall worldviews. So I want to be very clear. I'm not trying to leave a legacy for my kids. The Bible says, let me see, riches. 1 second here, Rust, King James, 1 second. 1 second. So the Bible talks about this idea that you don't want to store up for yourself riches on this planet. Store up for yourselves. 1 second here. I'm going to pull it up here. This is Matthew chapter 6, verse 19 through 21. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moths and vermin destroy and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. So I always just try to help people grow their companies. That's what I like to do. Now I have to make money doing it, but if there's somebody out there who's like me and they grew up poor and they can't afford to come to a conference if it's $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever, I want to make it affordable for people. So I'll give you a hand up, but I'm not going to give you a hand out where you don't have to pay anything. So like for the members of the church I go to, they can name their price, but they have to pay something. So I just find that, if there hadn't been certain key mentors in my life that were willing to say yes when I asked them to coach me, it was arguable that maybe I would not have progressed as quickly as possible. Now, to tell you this, there's been a few mentors in my life that said they would help me and then they didn't. So I quickly moved on to another one. And there were certain mentors that said, I won't help you unless you can pay me. And I did pay them. But all I can say is I want to make it affordable for people to get to it. But again, my conferences are not my profit center. I don't make money on them. So if you go to thrivetimeshow.com and you come to our event, you're like, man, this is like the most fun conference of all time. How does this guy make any money? I don't make any money on the conferences. I do make money on the consulting where I make a 20% profit margin. So I charge a client $1,700 a month and I make a 20% margin. So I make $340 a month per client. And I typically get a small percentage of the growth.
Okay, got it. Awesome. Listen, I still have so many questions, and I would love to do another podcast with you where we can go more in detail. I know we're running short on time. So let me ask you this. Better Globally, we explore art of becoming better in health, life, business, relationships. So what's your number one advice for people to become better globally?
Just go to thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire. Download any of my books there. Read them. I've written, I think there's 23 books now. So find the book that makes most sense for where you're at in life right now. You can download it for free. And just ask yourself, how can you improve in your areas of your faith, family, finance, fitness, friendship, fun? If you don't schedule time for your faith, family, finance, fitness, friendship, fun, if you don't every single day schedule time to think about your faith, family, finance, fitness, friendship, fun, it's called F7, faith, family, finance, fitness, friendship, fun. If you don't think about designing the life that you want, you'll just by default drift into a life you don't want.
Okay, everyone, you guys heard him. Thank you so much, Clay, for coming on. And also for every guest, I always give them a gift. Unfortunately, we're doing this remote, so I'll have to send you one.
Oh.
But I always give them a book And the book for you that I chose is called Utopia for Realists. I think it will be it could be interesting read for you. It gives some ideas that could challenge your worldviews.
Sure.
So I would be very interested to, after maybe you read it, to discuss it and learn from you.
Well, you are a Polish paradise, and I really do appreciate you carving out time for me.
Thank you so much.
Take care,
if people wanna reach out to you or find you anywhere on social media, what's the best place to find you?
Text me on my cell phone directly at 918-851-0102. That's my cell phone number. 918-851-0102. It's my cell phone number. 918-851-0102. That goes direct to me. And if you want to get tickets for our ReAwaken America tour, you can go to thrivetimeshow.com, thrivetimeshow.com, or you want to get tickets for our in-person 2-day interactive business workshops, you can get those as well at thrivetimeshow.com.
Okay. So thank you again, Clay. It was a pleasure. We definitely have to do it again.
Yeah.
Any last messages for the viewers?
No, just take action. Knowledge without application is meaningless. Knowledge without application is meaningless. You have to take action. Don't just learn things for the sake of learning things. Actually do things. Be a doer, not just a hearer of these words. Vision without execution is hallucination, and a goal is a dream with a deadline. Someday is not on your calendar. There's Monday, there's Tuesday, there's Wednesday, there's Thursday, there's Friday, there's Saturday, but there's no such thing. There's Sunday, but there's no such thing as someday. Schedule time.